What is up? What is up? Running a little late today, in a hurry, got things to do. I don't know why I play pin the intro, Josh. I just don't know.
We're what are we, like 4 months in? We're still figuring things out.
Are we 4 months? I guess it is April, man. But we got a lot going on today. A little bit Elon. The U.S. government admitted to space and time travel essentially today. So we'll take a look at that. We got Elon running monies through X to essentially buy baby mamas. So we'll take a look at that. What else? J.D. Vance is tweeting out about nationalism.
And dropping trophies.
And dropping trophies. And and in the, yeah, I did say that. And then in the same vein of space and time travel, we have Blue Origin going to space.
Yeah. A lot of distractions going on.
A lot of distractions going on. So do you want to jump straight into Blue Origins? I have a cursory understanding of what kind of went on. I haven't looked into it a lot, but it seems sketchy.
What about Blue Origin seems sketchy?
Well, this flight in particular, I mean, they kind of want to play it off as they're going to the moon with SpaceX, but you know, they did a little 11-minute flight. They did a little 11-minute flight in the sky and wanted to pull a reality TV show.
Yeah, so what I understand about it for people who may or may not be watching, I know that Blue Origin is Jeff Bezos' answer to SpaceX, even though practically they're not even remotely on the same level. I mean, I think Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin program is more catered to commercial space travel, which is why, you know, like his rocket is kind of like Elon, it's fully automated, but the trips are much more simple. It is kind of like, it's a smaller rocket. It's designed to go up only to a certain level out of the atmosphere to where you can, you know, see stars during the day essentially. Then it just drops right back down.
You think he's just seeking like subsidization or funding to try and get some more money? I guess, you know, Bezos looking for money is kind of my question. It seems kind of dumb when you say it, but it just seems that way.
I think it's one of those things where you could argue maybe that the government is trying to prevent Elon from monopolizing the space industry, so they are subsidizing and Bezos could have seen that and said, "Hey, I'm working on and this is just like a mission to kind of remind people, hey, Blue Origin, we're out there." Because like I haven't even heard about them since they shot Will Shatner into space, which was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, they had a little reality TV show that they put on for everyone with some notable names on there. Me and Josh.
1, 2, 3, taking up space!
We're doing astronaut training today. We're going to learn everything that you need to know to fly a nominal mission to space.
You're beginning the simulation at T+2 minutes. Separation is confirmed.
It is my pleasure to tell you, you've passed. Does that make you feel confident? Yes. Does that make you feel good?
It makes it start to feel even more real.
What is the vibe of the New Shepard crew this morning now that the morning is finally here?
Oh, there is so much energy here.
It's not about going to space, it's about what we bring back. And I get to go with 5 incredible women.
We are all in our places, bright, shiny faces.
Babies, I love you so much. Love you, Grandpa. I love you, Daisy. I love you so much.
Here we go.
2, 1.
All right, Josh, we ain't gotta watch this whole thing, but you get
Look at the
you
moon.
get the gist.
Yeah,
I was trying to change cameras while I was up.
You see that?
Let's see if this works.
Oh my
Is that better?
gosh.
A little bit.
yeah, I think that looks good.
All right.
Got you, Flynn. Gotcha.
I see it on screen.
Oh my gosh.
Josh, I mean, we got we got 5 women up there in space that are floating around. They get to the ground and they kiss the ground. They were up there for 11 minutes. I mean, they're barely in low Earth orbit, right?
Yeah. So you know how a male actor is an actor and a female actor is an actress? Do you know what the female equivalent of an astronaut is? A crastronaut.
Well, apparently that was being piloted from the ground.
Yeah, yeah. This was like, these things are just elevators for people.
They're free floating elevators. They're not attached to anything. That's what they are. I mean, that's essentially what they are. I mean, they really didn't go that high. Not really.
No. Enough to like kind of see the curvature of the Earth.
You remember the Red Bull guy that jumped out of the space capsule?
Yeah.
I wonder if they went higher than he did.
That's a good question.
If the dude jumped out of a space capsule,
yeah, because like I wonder.
I'm about to Google it.
I wonder. I mean, I imagine that obviously, like their cabin that they're in is like totally pressurized. Because like that guy going down, he had to do like breathing exercises. He had to do all sorts of like strength preparation to like prepare his lungs for the way down. He had to, like continually pop his ears as he descended, even though he was in like a suit. So I wonder. I know, like I was saying, basically these Bezos trips are they're more targeted towards the commercial aspect of space travel. Like I don't even know how extensive the training was. I think maybe they had to be prepared for the G-forces of going up and, like their last will and testament in case they exploded.
Okay, so they went about twice as high as the Red Bull guy went.
Okay.
So, I mean, they were up there.
Yeah.
They were up there for a little bit. And they kissed the ground when they got back down. I mean, good on them. Would I like to take a trip? Sure, send me up, dude.
Yeah.
Send me up.
It's clearly a publicity thing.
I don't have enough Botox in my face or lip filler to be.
Maybe that's. I was gonna make a joke about that. I was like, maybe that's why they were picked, because their skin would not pull against the G forces. All that like plastic.
There was actually an article that came out about that. It was it said the title of it was the effects of space on Botox and lip filler or something like that. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, Blue Origin, I guess, kind of making waves in the commercial space. Let me see if I can find that article real quick.
Okay.
But yeah, good job, Jeff Bezos. I mean, we're going to the moon soon, so.
Yeah,
I wonder. To Mars soon.
I wonder, like, how much. I almost wonder if rockets are the new paintings. They're like insurance write-offs or something. You know what I mean? Like,
it's got to be something, man. It's like how much money do you need to have, one, and then two, at what point does the money become, oh, I need to go to space? That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
You get money, you buy a media outlet, whether that's Washington Post or X or whatever, and then you go to space. Like, those are your options. You get money, you go to space.
I just like, it reeks of defense contract. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of like with Iran, how they have a civilian space program, but it's clearly intended to be like, hey, we can make a missile if we want to.
For sure.
I feel like that's kind of, there's something like that going on.
For sure. Speaking on Blue Origin, this is, let me see if I can get this up here. This is a tweet from somebody within the Trump administration. It says, the golden age, Michael Krastios, I'm not even sure what he does. The golden age of American innovations is on, dude, I can't read today.
The golden age of American innovation is on our horizon if we choose it. Today, we shared the Trump administration's technology policy agenda.
Okay, so we're sharing the Trump administration's stay with me here. Stay with me here. Stay with me here. Shared the Trump administration's technology policy agenda. Let me pull this link up and we can kind of read through it together here. Because what it says is absolutely insane. Might cover us up for a second. I'm over here doing it on the fly, so it is what it is. All right, so we're gonna scroll down this thing. We can take a little bit of read of it, but there's a couple of spots. One very in particular that I want to get to. I don't even know how long this thing is. I don't even know. Oh, here we go, Josh. What is this? Can you read this for me right here?
Sure thing. Our technologies permit us to manipulate space and time. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. What the?
We can read it in context, if you will. Stagnation was a choice. We have weighed down our builders and innovators. True.
Okay.
You could claim through various means, namely DEI.
Intention regulatory regime in the 1970s.
Read out loud.
What?
Read out loud.
The well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, first hampering America's ability to become a net energy exporter and then making it harder and harder to build. We seem to have lost focus and vision, to have lowered our sights and let systems and structures and bureaucrats muddle us along. But we are capable of so much more. Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. They leave distance annihilated, cause things to grow, and improve productivity. So, is this what you were you were telling me before the show that the government admits to time travel? Is this kind of the?
I mean, essentially, how do you interpret this?
I'll be honest. Now that I've read it, I think because he follows it up with leave distance annihilated. Are you kind of implying it's a Freudian slip that they have like a teleporter or a time machine?
I think they're admitting to it. I don't think it's Freudian at all.
You think they're admitting to having a time machine?
Yes.
I've heard things like, and it's one of those conspiracy theories that it's like,
well, I
have no
believe
idea.
the Malaysian Airlines, and I believe the evidence behind this is extremely solid, that Malaysian Airlines was essentially teleported. And we talked about this before.
Yeah, you and I have talked about
it. With the orbs.
Because I want to hear more about that. Refresh my memory and inform the audience about the orbs. Because I knew it had something to do with quantum entanglement, which I understand, but they may not.
Well, the Malaysian Airlines was, dude, I don't know, when was it? 2016?
Like 2013.
16, 13, 14?
It was 13,
somewhere.
I'm pretty sure.
Anyway, airplane disappears. No black box, no crash site, nothing. There's a reporting of it from about 15 to 20 people from an island that's significantly south of there, like miles, like maybe 60 to 100 miles south of it. And they reported seeing the plane. But it was something like prior to its disappearance, and they knew where it was during the disappearance, and it wasn't at near that island. And so this sounds crazy, but Ashton Forbes has done a lot of research into this, and we have video evidence, not just one, but like 4 or 5 separate drones that have had footage from thermal to radiation footage, like it's called a FLIR, where you record things through a thermal sight.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 orbs that approach the back of the plane and start circling it. And whenever they get into this circling motion, they collapse in on the plane, and the plane essentially implodes and disappears.
Yeah, I've seen the videos
and I mean,
this
thing
about.
is like 10 years old at this point, and people want to claim it's VFX or visual effects, but it's not. It's not CGI. It's not visual effects. I mean, the plane actually disappeared. So the question is, where did that technology come from? Is it extra dimensional? Is it extraterrestrial? Is it a UAP? Is it the US? And I think this is something along those lines. I mean, in all reality, when they say up here, the well-intentioned regulatory regime of the 1970s became an ever-tightening ratchet, I would agree with them. The 1970s, we stopped really innovating at about that point. You know, no real innovation, at least in air travel, has been made since then, right?
Yeah.
We went to the moon in 69.
It was like
That's
in
it.
the
That's
span
peak.
of like 30 years, we went from propeller planes to jets and then into outer space in 30 years.
And now where are we?
Still
After 60
still
more
at
years.
rockets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're exactly right. I mean, Area 51, S4, Bob Lazar, all these things, I'm not saying they're all true, but I am going to say that it doesn't make sense that we aren't further along.
Well, that's a good question because like I could talk about this all day. I love the like UFO talk. I love the conspiracy theory talk. However, when it comes to like how practical is it and like how much can we honestly say that we know in the same certainty we can talk about 9/11, JFK, Pearl Harbor, like conspiracies and stuff like that. Those are like it's different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I guess I would say, for example, Bob Lazar, I'll just hone in on him since you brought him up. He has been caught lying multiple times. I don't necessarily trust anything just because Bob Lazar says it.
Right, me neither. But that's not to say that that what Bob Lazar says isn't true. Some of it isn't true.
True, but it does cast doubt on it. Now the point is just because
some of it's verifiable,
just because
though.
Bob Lazar says something's wrong or right doesn't mean it's wrong.
Well, though he
lied.
Well, some things that Bob Lazar has said prior to 3D printing, he described a craft that was put together with no seams as if it was a cast.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can't predict that. Like you can't imagine that. Not really.
I think
and
you
stake
can,
your
though.
claim on it, and then it just happens.
I think you can though. I think like what's his name? Jules Verne basically thought of the nuclear reactor before that was even like before people even knew what it was. You know, he talks about in his book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea about the submarine, which is powered by it's basically powered by. He goes, well, it's hard to explain. Captain Nemo says it's hard to explain, but it's basically our own little sun. And it provides us with limitless energy that by the time it burns out, we'll be long gone. Basically describing a nuclear reactor 100 years before it was even thought of scientifically. Now, people are imaginative. I think they can come up with things before there's actually a scientific basis for it. So just because he came up with something like... Now, granted, his possible connection to a project before 3D printing, was invented by us.
I'm not saying that verifies everything he says is true, but I do think it kind of lends to, okay, maybe he was onto something. Maybe he had a little bit of insight.
Yeah.
That's just one little nitpick thing. I mean, we can pull up a Joe Rogan Bob Lazar video and just, I don't know,
I'd
do
be
a little
fine with that
reaction
because maybe you can help me out. I was actually recently trying to find a Bob Lazar video where he explained why UFOs glow. And what he said was that like the technology that they used in UFOs to move through three-dimensional space, it had to do with having like some element that we don't have in a reactor. And it was 3 reactors like directed towards
red mercury.
Something like that, directed towards each other. And the motion, to go a certain direction, like one would turn away. And basically this created like hyperactive photons, and that's why UFOs glow. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but I couldn't find that video. I was trying to find it.
But I think they also use the analogy. I guess I don't want to get too stuck on UFOs over here, but
sure.
They also use the analogy of if you took a motorcycle into the middle of Africa and dropped it off, like they could figure out that when you turn the key, it turns on, and then you can go.
Even if they don't understand how it works.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's, he was trying to say that about, we at least at that time, we hadn't reverse engineered whatever technology we had. Now, I don't believe in extraterrestrials. I don't think there's aliens out there, but for what it's worth, I do think that we do have technology. We don't know where it came from, or if we do know where it came from, it didn't come from here.
The orb thing, it's really fascinating to think about. I would go on a limb and say that I don't believe it. Like,
I believe it wholeheartedly. Do we need to?
The
We need to watch
Malaysia-
a Ashton Forbes video.
Well, you have to do that
Together.
sometime because I'd be interested in that. But I think, and I don't know enough about them. Like, can you explain to me with the Malaysia flight, what was the goal? Like, who was on it that made them want to get rid of this flight? Like, because there is a conspiracy. Like,
There
why?
was a. I'm not entirely sure, and to be honest with you, I couldn't really care about the why, just that it is. But it was something to the effect of there was a bunch of doctors doing some research in.
Okay.
I want to say cancer. It might not have been cancer, but it was like 15 or 16 doctors doing research into some field of study on their way back to Asia after the U.S. or something to that effect.
Okay, because I think
Big Pharma killed him.
It's simpler
That's
to
it.
just
Big Pharma killed him.
to just black because like they do that. You know,
there's
like
there's too much evidence, man. There's too much evidence that it just
for the orbs.
Yes. Yeah. Do we need to?
Here's the
Okay,
thing.
we'll
I get
we'll
that,
set up a
but
video and we'll do
I
a
do-
convince Josh that Malaysia Airlines disappeared.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. But I do think that planes can. When I say disappear, I don't mean vanish into thin air. I mean they can disappear off radar, fall into the ocean, and we just can't find them.
No, it vanished. Thin air.
We'll see.
Thin air, dude. Oh, dude, that'll be good.
That'd be fun.
We'll have to do it.
I want to believe. I want to believe, but I just don't yet.
It's. I mean, it's pretty verifiable.
Maybe they got
that it
taken to
happened.
hell. They got taken straight to hell by demons.
Matter of fact, dude, we're about to call an audible, and we're gonna watch an Ashton Forbes video, Josh, just because you want to.
I'm down.
Okay, let's knock this Elon thing out, and then let's knock out the JD Vance thing, and then we'll jump into it. We've been on the kick of Blue Origin. Well, we got a comment. What's T-Dog say? T-Dog Knight. Just because you don't believe in it does not mean that it does not exist, and it believes in you.
I agree, but you could say that
Yes.
about anything.
Josh, what he's saying is you're wrong. That's what he's saying.
Hey, I believe in you ever hear of Project Montauk,
Yeah.
where they pulled like demons out of like fifth dimensional space and into 3-dimensional bodies?
Well, that's
I believe that happened.
Well, what's so far-fetched about what we're claiming here with the orbs?
Because that implies that we were able to come up with it.
No, it doesn't.
Because here's the thing. I think when I say I think it happened, what I mean is I don't think it was actually technology we built that ripped demons out of hell.
We're done with the orbs right now. We're going to knock this Elon thing out real quick, and we're going to pull up an Ashton Forbes video and do a little reaction.
All right.
So Josh has a little bit more of an understanding that orbs made the plane disappear. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so a while back we were talking about Ashley Sinclair and Elon Musk having Elon Musk baby. There was a big blow up about that. Well, there's another big blow up now because Elon's trying to repopulate the world by himself. Elon Musk offered to impregnate, excuse me, glamorous influencer, then retaliated when she turned him down. So Elon's essentially paying people. Get this thing in the middle. Daily Mail. Offered to impregnate, retaliated when she turned him down. So Elon Musk allegedly offered to impregnate right-wing influencer Tiffany Fong. This is a lady on Twitter that has a ton of engagement, largely due to Elon. Then retaliated by harming her ex earnings when she declined his approach, per a new report. Okay, so she was getting she was collecting like 21 grand a month off of X post.
Mm-hmm.
How was she doing this? Well, she would post. A lot of these people post regularly. I say regularly, I like every minute. And so Elon is the largest followed account on X. And so if he, does his little target or 100 or likes, he'll retweet things, and then you get massive engagement off of that. And so it essentially funnels money into her account. And so what happens is once he stops engaging, the money goes down. I don't think this is an accusation that I don't think is provable. Then retaliated by harming her ex earnings when she declined his approach. I don't think her ex earnings were harmed directly. They were harmed indirectly by his not engagement of that thing anymore. Does that make sense, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
SpaceX founder 53 said to be creating a legion of offspring. That's a quote. He wanted to create a legion of offspring, offering women he deems as intelligent the chance to discreetly bear his children in exchange for millions of dollars. I would not put Ashley Sinclair in there. Tiffany Fong gained notoriety. Yep, on downfall. Elon reportedly began liking and replying to 30-year-old posts last summer. There's a lot of gossip. But the point I want to get to is Elon is trying to repopulate the world and raise a legion, quote, a legion of offspring by essentially offering women like Ashley Sinclair to birth their children. There was also a report saying that he wanted her to have a C-section so the baby's head would be bigger. And also didn't want
awesome.
the baby to get circumcised because and then kept going on about third world birth rates being higher than Western civilizations, which is pretty autistic of him.
Yeah.
Which is almost normal at this point, I would think.
I think it's safe to say Elon's a freak. And not in like not in like this admirable type way.
It seems as though he maybe not necessarily believes himself to be God, but it's getting pretty close, dude. It's getting pretty close.
That's the problem with, like, when you're a billion, like, that's why Elon Musk is obsessed with Neuralink. He's obsessed with space travel, obsessed with the future of humanity, because when you're a billionaire, when the life that being a billionaire in modern day society provides for you, why wouldn't you want to live forever? How could like heaven be any better than this? You know, like Elon Musk wants to put his brain in a jar.
When you're at the top of the hierarchy, why would you want to?
Yeah, he wants to put his brain in a jar and live and make and buck pretty girls forever. You know what I mean?
Camel in the eye of the needle.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like he's like he is a transhumanist. He is like what Alex Jones was warning us about. Even though Alex Jones seems to be okay with him now.
Well, Alex Jones has been
all
over the place lately.
And the funny thing is when we talked about this whole thing with Ashley Sinclair coming out, my thought was just he Elon Musk has become interested in right-wing politics, and so he's trying to have sex with, hot right-wing influencer girls. I did not suspect that he was literally trying to create the Ubermensch. He was trying to seed the next Aryan nation, but I don't think Elon is stupid. I don't think he's as smart as he makes himself out to be. He's clearly like got Asperger's. But I think this is just weird. Like, this is like, it's clear now. This is a little bit more than just autistic behavior. This is like self-obsession. This is self-worship.
You know who's Stephen? Well, okay, I don't want to. We were talking about Elon. I'm trying to find a Ashton Forbes video for us to react to, but yeah, Elon, I mean, he believes himself to be God, and if he doesn't believe himself to be God, he sure is trying to make it happen.
And this is one of those things where it's, like in 2018 when the Me Too movement became popular and there was like hashtag believe all women, which of course, like, it was clearly like half of these bitches were lying, you know what I mean? If not all of them. And like some of the stuff, like, I think it's gross, but like what Louis C.K. was doing is kind of like, who cares? But I don't know if you remember the specifics of that. But there's like cases like this. I don't know. Are people saying this is a lie? Are people even refuting this? Saying that she's
nobody's refuting it.
No. Okay. Because I was gonna say this is like way too specific to make up. You know what I mean? This is way too like damning for her to just like come up with this on a whim. So I definitely believe Elon was doing this kind of crap.
Oh, for sure he was. let's try this one. He's going to do a live stream later today at 8 o'clock. Ashton Forbes has been all over this Malaysian Airlines. He's basically, that's his entire career right now.
He's made an entire career off of talking about the Malaysia.
Yes. And but it's I mean, it's risky, and it's sometimes you have to you have to question people like that.
Sure.
Because obviously they have money tied into this thing. But I do think he's taking a lot of heat for it. But I do think that there is I hope I'm able to pull it up on here. Let's see if we can make this happen.
All right.
So this morning, woke up,
Get started,
and had already.
What was I
Playing
saying?
somebody else's content in the show. What is this?
Let's
Wake
go,
Up Carolina.
Let's see if I can make this manageable here. Josh, I might put both of us on one side.
That's fair. For me, it looks like I'm looking at it.
All right, let's try this. Oh, shoot. Whoa. What's up, St. Milton?
You expect me to believe we have quantum orbs when we can't even figure out how to enlarge an image or a link?
I can't. We can get some of those Operation Paperclip guys over here and maybe get some.
Just
of this
jumping to say, hey, what's up, boys? Is space fake and gay? A time for war.
Dude, I don't know if space is fake and
I don't
gay.
think it's fake, but it's definitely gay. And no, I will not elaborate.
I don't know what my thing is doing over here. Come on, dude. How do I? Oh, lordy. We're struggling. I'm struggling right now. Let's try again.
So
I do have
this morning,
I do have a live tonight.
Woke up.
Oh, you do? What are you doing?
I don't even remember what the topic was supposed to be, but I know I do have one, so that's good.
All right.
I think we're making progress here. Is space fake and gay? Dude, I really want to say yes. I feel like yes is an easy answer.
To it being fake and gay?
Yeah.
I definitely will say this. It is kind of cool right now to reject space and believe in flat Earth. Like that's
you don't think
kind of what's
flat
in
Earth
right
has
now.
died out?
No.
Really?
I mean, it's definitely taken a dip in popularity or attention, but there's definitely people out there that still believe it. Space is gay, though. There's nothing out there, and the kind of people that are obsessed with space travel, that is like that's like anti-natalism. It's like a rejection of death. Like,
well, I mean, look at the people that are fascinated by it, fascinated to the point where they've dumped their entire lives into it.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. I mean, these are not people we should look up to.
Oh, and you remember like a year or two ago, they launched the James Webb Telescope?
Yeah.
Every 3 months, I see an article about the James Webb it just totally changed our understanding of physics. And then you read the article and it's like they took some pretty good photos.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, what's
These people,
the blue dot? The blue dot image, that the one that went way out past Saturn or whatever, outside of the solar system. Look back and took a picture, and now it's like this big deal. It's like, yeah, Earth gets smaller.
They make a big deal out of everything. It's like I remember in studying apologetics, there's this thing where there's basically just a gap in space where there's there's not a whole lot of galaxies here,
yeah,
and then people will go, this is proof of a multiverse because another universe bumped into ours and that's why there's no galaxies there. And then you ask the scientists and they're like, I mean, I can't disprove that. And they're like, see, it's real. Like they think space is our savior. These people obsessed with it.
Yeah. Oh, not that one. Let's try this one. Boom. What do you think about this, Josh?
You know, it's one of my favorite theories that dinosaurs are fake. That's a good one. LOL. I'm going to be honest. I don't know. The thing that made me go, when I first heard that dinosaurs are fake, I'm like, all right, come on. But then they were like, the first dinosaur bone was discovered in 1802, which, to put that in perspective, George Washington had never heard of dinosaurs because they hadn't been discovered yet.
It depends
That
on
makes
how
me
you
go,
define it.
Yes, because of course they say, well, yes, we had the bones, but no one knew what they were. It does make me raise an eyebrow.
Well, they built entire dinosaurs off of singular bone structures, just like they did with the pig's tooth.
Yeah.
Right. And so they build these entire narratives out of thin air, and it's not just dinosaurs, it's history itself. But yeah, I mean, I'm on the bandwagon, brother. Dinosaurs are fake and also gay.
Dinosaurs are definitely gay. And I tell you what, like, even if they are real, I reject that they had feathers. Every time you see, oh yeah, I hate seeing, and I know if they were real, they probably did, but I just hate the way they look.
What's that colorful ostrich looking bird? Casa something?
With the blue neck and
that's a dinosaur, dude. That's definitely a dinosaur. I mean, strip it down, that's a velociraptor.
I know. But just let me let the little kid in me accept the fact that dinosaurs looked more like crocodiles and like birds. That's true too.
Yeah.
It just so happens that they find dinosaurs and become popular right when evolution also becomes popular. So we've talked about this before, and this was actually a discussion I had with my girlfriend early on, because she and I are both Christian, but I basically spilled the beans that I kind of believe in evolution. I'm a theistic evolutionist.
It's okay to be a retard sometimes.
You're funny. But I will admit, I went to the Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. when I was in 8th grade, and they had here is the homo fago, whatever, the ancient human being. And they're like, here are the bones that are real, and here are the bones that we've reconstructed. It was
that's the worst word in the world. Reconstructed? You tell me reconstructed? Dude, just say made up. Just say you envisioned it in a dream and you just made the thing.
Filling it don't matter if it's
bones
gaps.
Or chimneys, right? If it's reconstructed, it's faked.
Yes. And so my point is that I do not believe that the theory of evolution and dinosaurs and scriptural Christianity cannot coexist. That's what I go so far as to say, rather than I full on believe in evolution.
I mean, I think dinosaurs can exist. I don't believe that evolution can exist inside. And this is in the face of William Lane Craig, which I hold in very high regard. I mean, he wrote an entire book on it, The First Adam, I believe it was called, where he lays out his evolution theory. I just think it's garbage. I don't know. Maybe we can.
Well, I don't believe it.
Dude, let's hash it out right here. Why do you think evolution? Dude, how do we go from space travel and time travel and teleporting things to evolution?
So this is how I explained it to my girlfriend. I don't believe in evolution. Rather, I'm you
believe God had a little hand, a little puppet God.
No. So I'll explain it. The way I view of creation and reality is like this. I don't know that evolution happened, but I don't know that it didn't happen. I think there are things about human behavior that can be explained by evolution. And in some ways it's more cohesive, in some ways it's less cohesive to Christianity. To debate those things really is besides the point. The way I see it is this. Here's what I'd rather convince you of how it's not incompatible. You know what I mean? So this is the analogy I used for my girlfriend. Imagine, just for the sake of argument, that evolution is possible. If it is possible, then I compare it to like a plant growing. God creating our universe is not a mechanical act. It is not God creating a machine serving a function. Rather, it is more like he is creating art that serves a function. In the same way, like the Mona Lisa is meant to evoke certain things from the artist to the viewer. You know what I mean? And God sort of acts the same way. It's a creative act, not a mechanical creative act. And so when I think of evolution, I think of imagine God planting a plant for the first time. if evolution is possible, I think it makes sense for God to create a universe that natural laws will bring about intelligent life in the same way God planting a seed will bring about a tree, rather than him just starting at its final point.
You're so far off, dude.
How does that not make sense to you?
First of all, you're bypassing the mechanical issue.
No, I don't think so.
Evolution is not possible mechanically.
I disagree.
Okay,
I think it is possible.
Frank Turk wrote a book, I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist.
Okay.
And so he kind of outlines this simply, the mechanical issue. He outlines it simply as, as, what was it? Dude. It's been 10 years since I've read that book. Just because evolution was just so garbage, Josh. So okay, we can debate the evolution. It's not mechanically possible on a macro level. On a micro level, yes. I mean, we can have finches that are stuck on an island, Darwin's finches, that grow a longer beak simply because of genetics and adapting to the environment. But we can't crossbreed. We can't create new species. Even with God's hand involved in that, it doesn't really work like that. And so the argument that I would make in regard to your point is that God created a mature world that was already created. And if you really, really want to trace evolution back to it, it doesn't mechanically work on a time scale, right? And so God created Adam and Eve as mature adults. They created the plants in the garden as mature plants. And so there's nothing to say that God didn't create things already mature. That's not to say that the earth isn't 6,000 years old. I do believe it is somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 years old. That's to say that it was created mature to maybe appear older than it is. And so when you make the argument of mechanical, or you don't make the argument, you kind of bypass it. It's like,
Okay, so
what's the
thing you brought up about how the Earth is 6,000 to 10,000 years old, but has the appearance of being older. So if God is omnipotent, is it impossible for him to create a world that is 6,000 to 10,000 years old with the appearance of being 6,000 to 10,000 years old?
Is it possible? I mean, I would say yes, it's possible.
Then why have it appear to be older?
Because what came first, the chicken or the egg? The thing has to be mature before it happens.
So
right?
You think that a universe that operates as if it is 13.8 billion years old.
Okay, let's think about it like
this.
Let's think about it like this.
Okay.
If you create a video game, that is
I know what you're
self-generating.
saying. Yeah.
Everything is already mature and exists for the most part. Let's take Minecraft, No Man's Land, any generative land that is essentially infinite.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be created mature, otherwise there's essentially nothing. It's barren. There's nothing.
I agree. I agree that like God, when God created, when God created people for the first time, if he created trees fully grown, it would look as if they were, like they would be identical to trees that grew from a sapling up to a normal tree. They would be identical. I totally agree with that. But my question is specifically about the 6,000 to 10,000 year time frame. There is evidence through cosmic microwave background radiation and the Big Bang that the Earth is that the universe is 13.8 billion years old. Why create the universe with the appearance of being that old if it could appear to be only 6,000 years old? The point being is that the universe we inhabit would have to be that old or appear to be that old. So mechanically, everything a tree needs to exist in of itself It needs oxygen, it needs soil in the ground, it needs the atmosphere it inhabits in order to properly live. And I would extrapolate the same conditions for our planet outwards. I'm not saying that God could not create. I'm not saying that you're wrong. But what I'm saying is that it begs the question.
The question of why not another way?
The question of why could God not have created, like, so for example, I'm trying to tie this in concisely because I know I tend to I get a little long-winded. So I guess this is how I explained it.
There's been so long since I've looked at any of this, but go ahead.
So this is how I explained it to my girlfriend. The Mona Lisa, let's hone in on the Mona Lisa. You have a canvas, and to us, to our perception, we see the face and we see what is in the canvas, but around her. It is not simply a cutout of her head. There's a canvas and she has surroundings. To God, who is an infinite being, things like time and space are irrelevant. So simply because of the fact that we have a gigantic universe that we could never hope of physically traveling to by conventional means from one end to the other, or that that there's a vast distance of time from the beginning of the universe to when we appear, that is irrelevant to God. That I compare that to the extra space in a canvas on a painting like the Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa
Sure, I would agree
is
with that.
the focus, but to God, who's infinite, that is almost like, it may seem incomprehensibly large to us, but to God, that is just like the surroundings on the painting. Does that make sense to you, right?
Yeah, sure.
So
I can agree with that.
So with that in mind,
I don't see the scale
a problem.
of the thing is irrelevant.
Okay, so that's my point. Is
Sure.
it's irrelevant. So there's nothing.
But it's
to
not
me, there's
irrelevant
nothing
to
in
it's
Scripture.
Not, but that's separate from evolution itself.
Sure. But I'm trying to connect the two ideas. My point being is,
well, the only way you can connect those two is to take the position that you are, and that is an artistic expression rather than a mechanical one, because the mechanics doesn't allow you to do that.
Okay, so I just want to clarify before we move on. Your only objection to the idea of evolution is that it can't mechanically work. Not that there's something
illogical to the confines of the universe.
I get that. I get that. I disagree, but I understand. I just want to make sure, because a lot of people, when I have this discussion with them, the complaint they have is they feel like it's taking away a creative act from God, which I don't think so. Do you agree or disagree with that? For God to create a system that will produce life organically through evolution, is that different than him creating it directly?
I mean, William Lane Craig would say no.
I would too.
I would say you have a bigger issue.
Okay.
In that there's nowhere to draw the line of soul. But you don't agree on soul either, though. In animals.
No, I agree. And I think animals have souls.
Okay, so I don't. So that's where we, okay, so where does the soul begin? Who has a soul? Does the amoeba have a soul? Does the plant have a soul? Does the dirt have a soul? Like, where does it stop?
So, in the same way, because I remember we talked about this on a podcast before, like trying to define what we mean by soul. And I don't think we completely disagree. I kind of forget where we left it.
So do you?
But it's like, where does the soul begin? Like, so where do you think it began? Like, when your son was born, when did his soul come into existence? Or did it ever come into it? Was it always there?
I think the soul is created in the beginning
of time.
Yes. So
our souls pre-existed with God.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, help me understand here, because I'm not really sure what you mean.
At the moment of creation, all souls existed. They were created in the creation. They were a part of the creation.
And are you taking scripture for example, like before the earth was formed, I knew you, to justify that?
I mean, not specifically that verse, but I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think because souls don't exist in the time frame either. I don't think they exist in the time frame. So I don't think they're created necessarily. I think they are a byproduct of the thing that is created.
I think they're
I think we're getting kind of
created
a little
in this.
bit.
I think they're we're getting into semantics a little bit. I think they're created in the same way our bodies are. Meaning there was a point, like Zeb Boykin's soul did not exist in 1880 because you weren't born yet. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think we disagree on that.
So,
but I guess my question
guess-
wasn't necessarily much about the soul as much as it was about, I guess, the specific soul or the rational being. Like, who was the first Adam? I guess is essentially the question I'm asking.
Yeah, and
I
that's
don't
a good
think
question.
there's a separation there. I don't think
That's a good
you
question. Because that is something that that like when I first started to look into this, it bothered me too. But the way I think of it is like this. I think that Adam was not the first person ever made. There were intelligent beings that also existed. And a good piece of evidence I have for that is when Cain and Abel were in the picture, and then Cain killed his brother Abel and he was cast out. He was afraid to go out because he was afraid other people would kill him. Where did these other people come from? I think they were already there. I think the what's the word I'm looking? The eschatology, the eschatology of the story of Genesis is about God's first interaction with sentient beings on the earth. In the same way, Moses was not the first man ever born, Abraham was not the first man ever born, but he was like the first person that God sort of came to begin basically begin his ministry on the earth through the Jews. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying.
That's what I think about Adam.
I just completely disagree with you.
And that's fine. But my point is that I don't think, based off of scripture, you can say that I'm definitely wrong. You can disagree, but I don't think you can say I'm definitely wrong.
I can say it's heretical to hold that view.
I don't think you can.
I think I can.
But why? You have to explain it to me, because if I'm being heretical, I want to know, but I don't think I am.
I mean, I take Genesis as history.
I do too.
And you take it as essentially poetic.
No.
Yes.
I do think it happened. But I do think that in the same way, it can be.
So when we get a genealogy to Adam, he wasn't the first. That's your argument.
I think the genealogies are very misunderstood.
I mean, I don't even know how to respond to that.
And that,
but again,
now
you're bypassing the mechanical issues.
We can talk about the mechanical issues. So what exactly is your problem with the idea of the mechanical evolution?
A lot of it.
Okay. So
you can't, species can't procreate across species.
That is true. But so you said we can see microevolutionary things like
Sure.
Darwin's, what was it? Sparrows, pigeons?
Finch.
The finch. The example I use, you see a lot, is hummingbirds. Hummingbirds largely operate in the same way, but a lot of them are vastly different in the way that their beaks are shaped. Some of them have really, really long, straightforward beaks. Some of them have long, curved beaks. Some of them have shorter beaks. And this has to do with the flowers in the region that they are.
Finch is same issue.
Exactly. Yeah, you understand it. So my point being is that how do you do you think that God created all of those types of beaks in the beginning? Or was there one type of hummingbird and eventually just over time going to different regions, the beaks change shaped based out of genetic necessity?
The latter. Yeah, they change shape out of adaptation to the area.
Okay.
But
so my point being is on a large enough time scale, you can have gradual changes to the point where they are no longer able to crossbreed. That is how different species are generated. That is how different species come into being.
No. You can't do that.
Why not?
Because you can't change the base genetics. You can change the genes and the alleles in there. These are alleles. So when you make the argument of the finches or the hummingbird beaks, these are alleles inside the genes that determine how long or how thin or how short or how thick the beaks are. Same thing with eye color and everything else. But the genes themselves, the chromosomes themselves, cannot create new species.
Okay. So I want to make very clear.
You can't make this adaptability piece and give it time and it just happen. It doesn't work like that.
I think it can. I mean, because what we're talking about is basically, and I'll actually appeal to a popular argument from anti-evolutionist Christians, which is, atheists will often say we have 98% of our DNA in common with chimpanzees. See, that's evidence that we're therefore genetically linked to chimpanzees, which I would
say that would be evidence of design.
Sure. I would agree too. I do think we were designed. I want to make that clear. I do think we were designed, but it's also, we have like 55% of our DNA is in common with bananas. The point being is, like you said, that the base genes can't change. I would argue that on large part they don't. It is that 2% that makes us so vastly different from chimpanzees. It is a small percentage of DNA changes that cause the most vast differences.
Okay, dude, you're fighting so many things. We can do an episode just on evolution, and we can do an episode just on Malaysian Airlines, because we ain't even got to that one yet. But you're fighting so many things here. It's like you're fighting against the law of entropy. There has never been an added element to DNA. You can't add to DNA. You can only subtract from it. That's what a mutation is. It never goes up. It always goes down. And they've done this over like 30,000 generations of botflies. It's never in the positive. You can't, these are laws of nature that you're fighting against. You can't...
Of adding DNA?
Yeah, you can't add DNA. It's like, can you get a wolf from a mutt, a dog? You can't. You can never go back. Right? And this is the can it change across, let's say the hummingbirds? Can their beaks get smaller and thinner? Yes, you can kind of go back and forth, but you can't, once that DNA is lost, you can't go back. Just like you can't take a stray and breed him back into a wolf. It just doesn't work like that, because that base DNA is lost.
So I would argue that, like, the truth being is I'm not like super adept in biology. Like, the idea that like a mutation is only the loss of DNA, I don't know that that's true. I don't know that it's not true, and I'll take your word for it. But my point being is mutation is also, it's not inherently a detriment. You know what I mean?
It's not inherently a detriment.
Right.
But the vast majority of them
But I
are.
think if it's true, and I'll take your word for it, if it's true that what a mutation is you are losing an element of DNA, I would say that it is I'm not like great with the fallacies, but I think it's some type of fallacy to say that therefore this is almost like a loss in development.
The argument I'm making is a law of entropy.
Okay, so the law of entropy, I want to hone in on that. You have to understand about living things is when we're talking about a species, the law of entropy, the law of entropy applies to certain things. So in the same way, that would be like saying, okay, the human race is very old. Therefore, my son is very old because he just got here as opposed to the people that were first here. Your son is more healthy, he's more active than you are because he was just born. In the same way, I don't think a species, because of entropy, a species will therefore get worse simply because it is getting older as a species. I think when you have a newborn baby hummingbird, that newborn baby hummingbird, entropy can apply to the universe as a whole, but when you hone in on that hummingbird specifically, it is actually, for a period of time, it is developing into something better. You know what I mean? Like when the fetus grows into a baby, would you say that's entropy, like therefore it's getting worse? Or it's deteriorating just because it's getting older? It's
growing, but there is entropy there.
Yes, but entropy doesn't, so what I'm saying is entropy doesn't necessitate degradation. Does that make sense?
St. Militant said, "My bad, didn't mean to railroad the topic. It's funny though. I was just talking about space and time travel with a student."
Now I will say this: evolution is gay. It is gay,
well, dude. We need to. Okay, Josh, you have a lot to learn on the mechanic side, and I'm not doing. I'm not doing any justice to the arguments right now.
Dang, it's already been an hour. That's crazy.
I'm not doing any justice to the arguments right now. But
you know what we need to do? We need to get Cider House to do a debate between you and I on it.
I don't know if John's doing Cider House anymore.
Well, what's the thing you and Chuck are doing?
Make America.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess
we could probably do something like that.
Something like that would be fun.
Let me see.
What was the other debate you and I were gonna? Oh, JD Vance.
Okay, let's
Man, my hair's falling out. I'm like getting crap in my face.
It's funny though. I was talking. Yeah, dude. Space and time travel, dude. I think it's possible. I think.
Are we gonna watch the video you were talking about?
Yeah, let's do that before we get back on.
You know what grapes do to your joints? Watch this.
If you want real joint pain relief, eat more of these. This causes.
What was I saying? I think, dude, I think you're bypassing the key issue of the mechanical issue.
We can talk about it more.
Okay, ad.
Good Lord.
Is this a non-skippable ad? Where's the skip button at?
I think it's like slightly off to the right. There you go. Yeah. There we go.
All right. Let's see here. I'm not sounding my YouTube. I need to screen grab this thing next time.
Time Metric Engineering. And I woke up for some pretty crazy news. Let's watch together and get a live reaction.
We're reacting to the dude reacted to
this
a video.
Footage that has been circulating and getting so much attention and so much debate, and it's allegedly of the MH370 commercial airplane that had disappeared. And I'll put the footage up, but you can see these three orbs circling it, and then there's this pop of light, and it dematerializes. So there's so much debunking of the video, and then there's debunking of the debunkers, and I don't know what to make of this. There's this guy Ashton Forbes who's been championing this, and I've reached out to him, never heard back.
Yeah,
so
this video is the one I've seen.
But
the thermal
the
video.
The question is this real, and is this the kind of man-made technology that would be used in a false flag attack and blamed on extraterrestrials?
The first question, is it real? I don't know.
Okay, I just ruined it. I was trying to cut it off before he said what his answer was. Okay, but he says he doesn't know. Let's just let it play out.
I don't have the provenance for it. The second question is yes, because that capability, I think it's an Einstein-Rosen bridge is what they're doing, if you want to look that up. And we have a scientist on our team who's worked at a very senior NSA and corporate level who has said it is real, and it was an Einstein-Rosen bridge, and it was man-made, and it was a test. Now,
what? I mean, chat. That's Stephen Greer. The first time he's publicly commented on the videos ever.
Yeah.
And for people who are
It's 15
wondering,
minutes. Yeah. Go ahead, man.
I've never been in touch with Stephen Greer. I had no idea what was going to happen. The person who's interviewing Stephen Greer is the producer on his documentaries, including the documentary The Lost Century, the one all about free energy. Wow. So for them to bring it up, I'll tell you guys why they're bringing it up. I'll be 100% honest on why they're bringing it up. They are bringing it up because everybody is asking about it. Because you guys are asking about it. Anybody out there that says that people don't have any power, just look at this community. People think that you guys are bots because of how organic this movement is. Because the people that believe in this have looked at the evidence and they've come to their own opinion. That's why it's so gravitating. And so these people are talking about it because they're getting asked about it all the time. How do I know that? Because Jeff Wise literally told everybody, I constantly get asked about Action Forbes in the Orbs videos. And he's just some MH370 investigator nobody really cares about. That's just some blue pill guy. So you know these other guys are getting asked about all the time. You know Ross Coulthart, Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, you know Lou Elizondo. They're getting asked about me all the time. I know Lou Elizondo's getting asked about me because people tell me. So that's the times people tell me. That's only probably like a small percentage of time that people, compared to how many times people do ask. So that's why they're bringing it up. And it's not credit towards me.
He said, there's a really good Catholic doctrine called Doctrine of Divine Abundance where it asks, why would God make all these planets and universes to have them be empty?
Well, to say all these universes implies the existence of other universes, which we don't know, and I don't believe is true. I don't think there's any evidence that there's other universes.
I think he meant planets and galaxies.
Oh, okay. Well, I would appeal to my explanation from earlier. Like, why would God, why would Michelangelo, why would Leonardo da Vinci create plants behind Mona Lisa on the Mona Lisa? Because he's an artist.
Because he had space to fill.
Yeah, he had space to fill. But I mean, do you think, is every aspect of a painting the focus of the painting? Like, why is that famous picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware? Why is there sky in it at all? Why isn't it just the Delaware River and him?
Well,
because it's a painting.
Well, because he has space to fill. I don't think your argument holds. Where is the universe located? Where is the universe located?
Where?
Yeah.
That's an irrelevant question. It just is. There's no space else outside of it.
In this framing of this picture that we're talking about, George Washington's crossing the Delaware. Well, we have this space here that has to be filled.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how the universe works. The universe doesn't exist inside of a frame. There's literally no frame of reference.
I disagree. I mean, I think there is an edge to it. I
agree. I think there's an edge to it.
Yeah.
I think it's conspansive. It's not expansive. It's conspansive.
What does that mean?
We're essentially simplified. This is Chris Langan, CTMU. This is where he gets this from. Is that we essentially exist in a plane, in an orb, if you will, that is constantly injecting things from into it. Does that make sense?
So we're in like a snow globe, and things are at the edge of the snow globe. Things are coming in.
Yes. So the traditional argument is the redshift is essentially an expansive universe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he argues that, but the position I would argue is that there is nothing to expand into. So it must be conspansive. This is also why you have physical constants that are slowly changing at a nonlinear rate, like light speed. Light speed isn't constant.
Is it not?
Mm-mm. It's measurably changing nonlinearly. And so what that does is that, and also the red shift, which is this expansive thing, says that we must be in a conspansive universe where it's like, you think of exploding, but instead of exploding, it's imploding. But it's not imploding, it's just conspansive.
So if things were coming into the universe from the edge, why do we observe things moving away from each other? Galaxies moving away from each other.
Because it's conspansive.
Right? But they're moving outward, not inward.
Because everything's getting smaller. That's what conspansive means. Like so
I'm trying to understand.
It's a relative position, right? So
So if we're here, like, and I'm not trying to like,
It's
if
it's
we're
a
here
relative
and we see
position.
things moving like this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm trying to understand how this is. We would observe this when this is happening.
Correct.
I don't understand. So the expansive universe is like we're here, we're in this dot in the center, and things are moving outward.
Well, they're not moving outward.
We observe them moving outward. They have the appearance of moving outward.
Okay, think about it like this: we're in a pressurized orb.
Okay.
And things are keep getting injected into the pressurized orb. And so everything can't stay the same size. It has to get smaller relative to everything else. And so the injection of the thing from the outside makes it appear as if it's expanding. That's conspansive.
Why? But why would God be making more things? Why would God be making more universes or galaxies and planets?
I don't necessarily know that that's the case.
I don't understand then. Like so, but that's what you said.
Well,
you
I
said
mean,
you believe.
Well, the
things
red shift is happening. So there's really only a few arguments you can make. Is that we can see the red shift because that is the beginning of time.
Okay.
And so we're just watching time unfold as it goes, which I don't believe to be the case. Or things are being essentially injected into this conspansive universe. And
so
I don't
you don't
know.
believe
I don't know
things
that,
are being injected. You think we're watching time unfold?
Well, I think it's already created. We're just passing through the time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. I don't have to have new things created for the orb. The orb, the conspansive universe.
We'll have to go into that on our debate later. I could talk about this stuff for hours. It's my favorite LOL. Let's.
Yeah, he thinks it's real too. I think it's real. I mean, I would die on the hill that it is real right now.
No, that's credit towards you all. That's credit to you guys. You guys realize you're the ones who are making this happen. Greer thing. I'm gonna go. We're gonna come through this clip a couple times, so I'll let the rest of it play out. There's certain parts of it I really want to dig into.
I'm gonna have to find a better video because
I don't know if that's true because again, the actual footage itself. I always say, well, what's the provenance of it? Where did it come from? Who had it? And honestly, I don't have that information, and I don't.
Let's do this. Oops. Let's. 'Cause I really want to show Josh's stuff. How much have you seen? Just the video itself?
Just that video, the thermal one with the three orbs. They're like circling the plane. They collapse on it, and the plane just kind of disappears.
Let's go to Ashton's channel. What is this? 1 year ago.
Dang, that's 3 hours long.
3 hours. This is a separate video. This isn't the
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now?
I don't.
Well, forget about AI, quantum computing, electric vehicles, cryptocurrencies, or robotics. A little-known technology is projected to become roughly 10 times bigger than all of these technologies.
Click it. Oh, there it goes, barely. All right, before we jump into this. You guys ever look into what Nazis were experimenting with at the end of the war with a disc-shaped craft? It's wild, and there is some pretty good evidence did it too. Yeah, so Robert Seffer made a couple of videos on this. I think this case could be made, especially given Operation Paperclip and bringing over all the Nazis. Like, if they were just a little bit ahead of the U.S. with respect to space travel, what would be the point? Right? And so they would have to be leaps and bounds ahead to make that argument for why they... Yeah, I think so.
I think...
You think they would just let the Germans go for a minuscule advancement in what we have? No way.
Yeah, dude. I mean, no. I'm saying they wouldn't let them go for that.
Right. No. What?
I'm saying if the Germans could have been slightly better off than us, and we still would have wanted them because they had it figured out.
No, I don't think
because they were Why not? I mean, doesn't it? I mean, we were like the Nazis and the Soviets or I think this
If we
is
already
speculative,
won,
but we were both looking into a nuclear bomb. That to me, that's like saying, well, the Nazis may have been closer to having a nuclear bomb, but we were just gonna like let them go because they weren't because
no, we're not letting them go. They're dying at Nuremberg. That's the argument.
So you're saying with Project Paperclip, we saved the scientists, and it doesn't make sense that we would save them because they knew how to build rockets.
No, I'm saying because
it would only make sense if they could make UFOs.
No.
Okay.
We saved them because it was a significant gap in aerospace or saucer craft, and not just because it was a minute gap there.
I believe it was a significant gap, but it was a significant gap in how to successfully build and launch rockets.
Josh, I need to get you on these conspiracies, dude.
I want to believe, but I think you're making huge leaps here.
I'm gonna put a series of videos together, and we're gonna get you on this space travel anti-evolution train because you're off the rails, dude.
I want to believe so bad. Like you know that story. I'm sure you've heard of it. The story. I think it was like 2017. There was a guy. They were doing drills off of I think like San Diego, and they saw a Tic Tac shaped UFO. Ever since, like to me, that sounds like something that's man made. You know what I mean? Like a Tic Tac shaped thing.
I mean, it could be.
It could be. Now, I'm not saying I believe that it even happened, but that story, it just sounds so cool. Like I just have this like fantasy about like the way they described it moved. It could like move at like near light speed, just like almost like moving a cursor on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that'd be so cool if you had one of those, those like Amerigas trucks where it like looks like the little Tic Tacs on the back of the thing. Just imagine having like a car-sized Tic Tac UFO you could just take around the world wherever you wanted. How cool would that be? I want to believe it's real.
This thing somewhere,
but I don't.
Let's try this. Okay, this is a separate video from the thermal. And this is showing.
So someone was taking this video.
No, well, the U.S. government. This is a drone footage that is being recorded.
Okay, so the plane is clearly taking dramatic turns.
Yes.
Like they took a sharp turn just a second ago.
Yes.
Do you think they knew what was going on? Or were they trying to get away from whatever those things were?
I got no idea. I don't know why. I just know that it did. It did the thing. And the thing being disappear.
And where'd you say this video came from? It was leaked?
Initially, it was leaked.
Okay, 2014. I know many, so A Time for War says, I know many think the crafts are fallen angels or demons, but I do think many of the crafts today are most likely man-made and experiments from governments. Could be.
I need to find, dude, I sent you a video a while back on
To me, I basically believe that like the reason you don't see demonic activity as prevalent as you did back in the old days is because it's more advantageous. If the goal is to not get people to believe in God, it's more advantageous to not do anything if you're a demon, to show these big supernatural spectacles. And in the same way, I do think that if demons and Satan is truly in charge of our elites, I'm not even sure that they're doing these like profound satanic rituals where they're actually communicating with the devil directly. Like I think it could be demonic influence, but like, cause to me, even if I were a billionaire and then like they were like, hey, we're going to take you in the back room and Satan's there, it would make me want to convert to Christianity. Cause it's like, well, damn, man.
Well, that's what we're seeing now with all the transgenderism running around.
Huh? What is that? What does one have to do with the other?
You saying that having all this fantastical stuff happening
Fantastic meaning like supernatural things. Like the reason you don't see demon possession in the streets anymore.
Well, I'm just saying that it's almost an accelerationism where you have
it's more advantageous for them to corrupt people than to like possess people.
I'll have to get a couple of videos together. A lot of these are just too long. What is this one?
People are dumping their $500 pressure washers for this $50 tool.
This video here for the first time.
Oh man, when I saw those orbs, I saw this one orb just start exactly what it's doing now. Just start to go around this thing. And all of a sudden it started joining another one and then another one. And I said, oh my God, they're forming a bubble of non-ionizing radiation around this thing. There's no way what's about to happen. I anticipated, do you understand? I knew before that black hole happened. Let's call it a black hole.
You knew that was going to happen beforehand?
I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen. That's why when I said, this is it. This is the Pais effect. Of course, it's, hubris. That's the only thing I got going for me, brother. That's not one thing I'm losing anytime soon. So
have you ever seen videos like this? Military videos like this before? Anything even similar, remotely similar to this?
Never, ever. And even if I have, because
you remember,
at one point I would not be able to discuss because that would give away methods.
Why do you think they're converging like that at the end?
They're actually focusing as much non-ionizing radiation around this craft in order to condition the local vacuum around the aircraft, in order to form this wormhole opening for one of the back. What's a wormhole? It's really a black hole connected to a white hole. Whatever has an entrance will most likely have an exit. I do not believe in space-time singularities. I'm afraid Penrose was 100% wrong from this point of view. It never goes to zero. There's a quantum bounce. Ashtekar is correct. There's an Ashtekar bounce at the Planck scale. Again, the whole idea of why I thought that they were getting close and started to oscillate around this thing is to basically create that resonance effect that would build the field to the levels it would need to break locally the Schwinger limit.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of like physicists on there to try to explain some of this stuff. There's one video that shows an experiment like 20 years ago on a very, 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 very small scale of somebody attempting this. But I'd have to find it, and I don't think we have time.
My only, because like I definitely believe, I mean, obviously like quantum entanglement's real, but what quantum entanglement is the entanglement between two subatomic particles. I don't know that it's impossible.
The argument here is that there's a fourth orb.
Yeah, I know. Like his little thing in the back said 4 orbs. We've talked about that before, where there's a fourth orb. But the point being is like tachyons are subatomic particles that can move backwards in time. But the reason they can move backwards in time is because they are subatomic. Just because something can do something at the subatomic level doesn't mean necessarily that you can do it at the like grand atomic level.
Yeah.
I don't know that it can't, but I don't know. Like I don't discount anything. But I don't know that there's enough here yet for me to believe it.
Well, I definitely haven't showed you enough to believe it.
What was the thing? Like, can you remember what was like with these videos? Because it's clearly he's got like that same video over and over and over. Do you remember what argument?
Welcome to the All Evidence Review.
The thing that made you go like, huh? Not maybe.
No,
not
maybe
really. So much.
It's just the lack of explanation the other way, and then the multiple angles from the thing, right? So every attempt at saying that it's special effects or CGI or whatever has been untrue. Nobody has proven it to be not real yet, right? And this happened over 10 years ago. So the technology wasn't even that good back then. And then you have multiple angles of it with multiple different lenses looking at this thing.
See, Gray Eagle has the HUD data that the number theoretically will produce a room temperature superconductive state. Now, what we're going to present is an alternative hypothesis that we don't need metamaterials to induce room temperature superconductivity. That's what we've come to learn as part of the investigation, talking to scientists and engineers like Salvatore Pais. But with that,
we'll have to put something together. And where'd you see the one on orbs at?
No, I was talking about how in his room he had a sign on his wall that said 4 orbs. See if you
because his name is Forbes.
Yeah. Ashton Forbes, 4 orbs. I'll watch that one. Scientists break down UFO technology.
Behind closed doors, the P word became my secret sin at age 10.
You want to tell us something, Zeb?
I mean, this I'm not signed in. This is which one do you want us to listen to?
The Scientists Break Down UFO Tech, but that's an hour and a half. I'm saying I'll probably watch that one on my own at some time. Ashton Forbes. We've had this tech for decades.
The secret's not about aliens, it's about free
cover
energy.
up. Okay,
The reason
we can watch this one.
why the secret's about free energy is collapse of the economy, lack of power and control over the populace, and then doomsday weapons. That's basically what it boils down to. Now, assuming that we are able to publicly develop this technology, which I think is the only way that we're going to get it, is that we essentially need to do a great project like in the video game Civilization. We need to do a great project.
I don't think the whole Nikola Tesla like free energy for all thing. I don't think it's real.
You don't think free energy is real?
It could be.
I don't think it is.
But I don't like if I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I don't think Nikola Tesla invented it and they covered it up.
Let me see if I can find the one I sent you because I sent you a timestamp with it. Anyway, keep going.
That's just
so you don't believe Tesla and John Trump kind of had a little thing where they
you mean was Tesla gay?
No. When Tesla died, Donald Trump's uncle went over there and essentially collected all of his material from work. And you haven't heard this theory? Donald Trump's a time traveler theory?
No, I've heard that.
Okay. Well, that's basically what I'm saying.
Donald Trump's a time traveler.
Dude, I must have sent it to you a long time ago.
Oh, you did. It was like when we first started doing this. It'd be back in February. I don't know if you're going to be able to find it. I wish you could word search in a specific text group.
This one is.
But like, I definitely think the thing that I use against the idea of UFOs is like this idea that technology can infinitely progress. That like just because there was such an advancement in technological productivity in a certain time frame, therefore that level of advancement that would keep up indefinitely. Like, oh, we jumped from propeller planes to rockets in 30 years. Why didn't it keep going? Because I think there's a cap on what we can do. There's a cap on innovation in just a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? There's a cap on, like there's only so many ways you can improve on what a car is. 4 wheels, an engine.
Well, until you can create something that is not necessarily a car anymore.
It would have to be so much better than a car that it's no longer a car in of itself, which I understand. Like, I'm not saying that therefore we will never have something more advanced than rockets, but it would take something completely different.
Get out of here, dude. Josh, I need to...
What is up, everybody? We are here at Medieval Times, and we are so excited to tell you about our new show. We've got...
I am
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
All right, if we can't find this thing in like 10 minutes, then we're going to hang it up. But boys...
what were we originally even talking about today? Oh, we were talking about time travel. So, okay.
And if that's what our fate is, then that's what our fate's going to be. Let me play the videos. I wanted to have them queued up, but I wasn't quite ready. Oh, here it is. Okay. For the people that somehow haven't seen these videos, the fact that everybody's been ignoring these videos, the UFO community, the people in the MH370 search, it's pretty obvious why they've been ignoring these videos. We're looking at classified sensor information from our spy satellites on the left. On the right, we're looking at a drone. We are looking at exotic vacuum objects. They're balls of plasma. This is not a hologram that we're looking at. Those are real balls of plasma with extremely powerful charge. This is a super weapon. This is a super weapon. This is why nobody will talk about these videos, because they've either been told not to or they know not to. This is why Elon Musk won't talk about it. This is why Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp are running interference. This is why all the UFO woke disclosure people are, this is what they're protecting. You are staring at what all these clowns are protecting. They are protecting this for national security. They are hiding free energy from us. They covered up cold fusion. Do you guys understand? The thing that pisses me off the most is hiding science and hiding technology from not just the American people, but the entire world. Can you imagine how evil you are? All I've done is expose that they've been getting lied to and they've been absorbing it. So if you're one of those people out there, do not come to my house.
Timestamp? No.
Do not come knocking on my. And he was explaining how hiding
I was watching
free
the video.
Tom Four says we need a conspiracy theory session. We're going deep, dude. I'm down. Josh,
yeah, man.
You want to jump in on it?
We
could definitely make it happen. We could definitely make it happen.
You'll have to convince me.
Dude,
a time for war.
He can make a trip down here.
Where's he from?
Not far away.
I'd be down. That'd be fun. I love conspiracies, man.
All of them. I know the answer to all of them.
Reptiles.
Energy from us.
Yes.
They covered up.
Maybe not
fusion.
directly, but some version of that.
Oh, you
guys
know what's a great video that we can watch? Pull up the unified theory of the paranormal.
The unified
theory of the paranormal.
The thing that pisses me off the most
is
hiding science
let me get through
and
a couple
hiding
of these
technology from not just the American people, but the.
I need to speed him up. Oh, this is the.
Whoa!
He's going Dr. Octopus mode.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. The ball lightning, guys, is this little dot in the bottom left. There's a little white dot above this blue thing here. That's the ball lightning. That's how small it is. It's tiny. What you're seeing on the wall is the projection of what it looks like when it's bigger, okay? So if you see down here in the bottom left, you see this white little dot right there? That white little dot you're seeing right there in the middle of the screen right there, on the bottom left of the screen over here, or towards the middle, that's the ball lightning. It's literally suspended in midair, floating just like that. These are femtosecond lasers that are producing this. I'm going to show a clip of Salvatore Pais in a second. There it is. There's your ball lightning. You're staring at it right there. That white dot is the ball lightning. Yeah, it's a cute little ball lightning. It's really cute. I mean, it's not as cute when you can teleport stuff away with it and potentially make a doomsday weapon, but it does look pretty cute right there. I believe they're intersecting lasers here, but I'm not 100% sure. Presumably what they're doing is they're creating an interference pattern with the lasers crossing the streams, and then they're able to produce this. And then it's projected onto the wall so that they can see how large, what it would actually look like. Now, why is this important? This is important because look at that right there. Look at what we're looking at right there. Remember how everybody's saying that, oh, you're just looking at stars and what have you, and people take these videos or these pictures of
not so much
these
anymore.
things, these balls of energy they're seeing in the sky. Look at that. Look at that right there. I'm going to pause it. Wow. Wow. Of course, ball lightning looks like a star. Of course it looks like a star.
Of course it
because stars are literally balls of plasma. Exactly. It looks like a sun. So when you hear these debunkers constantly saying bullshit like, I think this is it.
Way to see
Oh, no, that's
what
not
the
it.
Weiss effect is all about is to say
That's fine.
it's really the generation of
Thank you for
extremely
joining
high
us at
energy
Time for War.
densities that are obtained by the
Glad to do it.
accelerated vibration and or accelerated spin.
The Cabinets to Go Buy More, Save More sale is going on now.
Hurry in for your free 3D design. Save up to 40%. And start enjoying your new dream kitchen for as low as $143 per month.
Get more wow for less.
So the guy that invented them or discovered them is a better way to look at it. He's probably a good authority in terms of how they're cohering energy. But again, they're not the non-radiating barrier. The point is the energy is not able to radiate outward because the pointing vector is 0, especially along the edges. If the magnetic field and the electric field are parallel, then your pointing vector is 0, and you're not going to have energy be able to radiate outward. That's what the Jack and Champion paper basically says. How are they controlling them? How are you controlling where they move?
That's my question.
Well, when you watch the MH370 video again, you can see that they have these dark lines in front of them. Those dark lines are how you cause it to move around. That's basically a conveyor belt. You're pretty much looking at these things are on a conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt's what's moving them. It's not that they're moving. The conveyor belt is moving. This is the secret to... This is warp drive. This is warp drive. This is what warp drive is. They're surfing. These orbs are surfing on gravity waves. So what is one of Salvatore Pais' patents? High-frequency gravitational wave generator. That's what you're looking at right here. They're producing high-frequency gravitational waves in front of them, and they're surfing on them just like a surfer would be surfing on the water. It's not that the surfer is physically moving the surfboard. It's that the waves themselves are moving, and they're just tracking along with them. So again, these waves, these could be, I think they're being produced from inside the orb outward, but they could also be getting produced from like beams that are shooting down from outer space, from satellites, or from ground-based systems, or boats. There's a lot of possibilities.
All right,
How do you
pause it.
teleport? Okay, how do you teleport?
See, that was my question to you when you first brought this up to me. I don't know if you remember that. Was like, if these things are balls of pure energy, how are they being directed?
Well, they're
and
not
he mentioned a patent by some guy. I'd be very interested to look into that because, I mean, just because a patent exists doesn't mean that what it's patented of works. And
Yeah,
if he could
patents are
effectively manipulate gravity, then that would explain UFOs to begin with.
Well, that's the argument that we're making right now.
Yeah,
that's the argument I'm making that.
I want to see. I want to see that
Free
guy's
Energy
patent
Magazine
point.
I think this
at
is
MIT.
I haven't watched this whole
when
thing.
cold fusion broke in 1989. Let's listen to what he has to say.
What we really had was a threat to the scientific establishment. The threat of it even being implied as real and having monies, shall we say, being diverted from their favored programs, and that was a threat. It was real. Overwhelmingly compelling, as I said, in Fire from Ice. It was real. Now it's 100% certain. In fact, what Pons and Fleischmann found was only the tip of an iceberg. But within weeks, the hot fusion people were going into action behind closed doors to disprove them. The difference between July 10th and 13th was dramatic. The raw data, excess heat.
Look at this. So I promised you guys doomsday weapons, and I'm going to try to do this without getting deleted from the internet. Where is it? Here we go. So I'm not sure what the federal laws are on explaining how to produce thermonuclear weapons for people. So I'm pretty sure what I'm going to say here won't violate them, whatever they are.
Okay, so
I'm going to look them up over the weekend and try to figure out like what those laws are. And if anybody has any good videos on, and Sal even says in that clip I showed earlier that this is a black hole in his opinion, and that wherever that energy is, it's got to go somewhere else. It's got to go somewhere else. So potentially we can pull enough energy
All
out.
right, we'll save the orb stuff for when we have Time for War on. I want to show you a different. I want to show you a different video. Go to the search bar. To me, this kind of explains all of it. Go to the unified theory of the paranormal.
Four orbs, Forbes. That's who that is. I'm just kidding. What were you asking?
Go in the search bar of you. Okay.
Oh, oops. We'll do it again.
I want to show you a video called The Unified Theory of the Paranormal. And it's the second one down.
Imagine making $453,000 in a single month as an affiliate marketer without...
No.
From demons and fairies to you.
Hold on. Let's make this thing a little bit bigger.
It's only 6 minutes.
UFOs and Bigfoot, tales of the unexplained have been a part of humanity's story since the beginning. Ancient alien theorists will look at the Bible and chalk up every bizarre event to aliens, while a religious scholar may look at contemporary alien encounters as manifestations of demons. Bigfoot and other cryptids have a strange habit of showing up near UFO sightings, and those who encounter either of these phenomena often discover newfound psychic abilities. Could there be a common cause that explains all paranormal events? One of the most famous sustained paranormal experiences is the Mothman incident of 1966. For 13 months, Point Pleasant, West Virginia was plagued with sightings of a bizarre winged humanoid, accompanied by mysterious lights in the sky, animal mutilations, and other accounts of paranormal activity. Journalist John Keel famously documented this prolonged period of unusual events in his book, The Mothman Prophecies, which was later made into a film of the same name. These simultaneous events were not new to Keel. He often wrote of window areas, specific locations on our planet where paranormal events were far more likely and even expected to occur. For experiencers and believers of the paranormal, the greatest frustration often lies in the lack of abundant physical evidence. A few landing marks here, a bit of fur there, and even the occasional photograph don't seem to be enough to convince the skeptics. After decades of researching such cases, Keel developed an elegant hypothesis which explains the troublesome disparity between excessive testimony and scarce physical evidence. His book, The Eighth Tower, written at the same time as the Mothman Prophecies, proposes a sort of unified theory to explain all paranormal events. These entities are able to shift up and down the electromagnetic spectrum, appearing and disappearing as they please. Keel called this the superspectrum, and he referred to the beings inhabiting it as ultra-terrestrials. This could explain the variety of electromagnetic effects often associated with paranormal events. Cars stall, widespread power outages occur, radios and telephones go crazy, and battery-operated devices refuse to work. Clocks and watches have also been known to stop in the presence of UFOs, monsters, and ghosts. Keel believes these beings are native to the Earth, which explains their manifestation in different forms throughout the ages, but that they inhabit physical dimensions beyond normal human perception. This theory fits with scientific understandings of how our brains perceive the world around us. It is well known that our senses are only equipped to pick up a very small slice of physical activity. Dogs, cats, and other animals are able to hear audio frequencies we cannot. Is it simply coincidence that they seem to have a sixth sense for the paranormal? Pet psychologist Marty Miller has said, "Sensing the supernatural is natural for dogs because they don't judge it. People could see auras or spirits, but they either don't believe they exist or think that if they do exist, we could not see them. Furthermore, our sensory organs are constantly capturing far more information than our brains can process. One of the most critical functions of the brain's sensory response is filtering out information that it deems unnecessary.
That's the argument.
Pattern recognition plays a large role in this process. When you see something that looks like a tree, your brain acknowledges the general shape of a tree and quickly creates the idea of a tree. But what happens when you observe something that fits no recognized pattern? What we pay attention to is largely determined by our expectations of what should be present, said Christopher Chabris, a cognitive psychologist, in an interview with the New York Times.
You get the gist of it.
Yeah. So, this argument is basically made by some in the sphere on Twitter. The Ogden guys, what's their podcast called? I don't know, but Right Response has done a couple episodes on something like this too, where the answer was the question, do I believe something like that exists?
So, because I think you and I agreed to the same thing, which is I'm not trying to like prove anything to you. I was mainly showing this like to the audience to say, this I think is what is going on, where I think there is angelic or demonic influence, and almost all things supernatural can be explained by the same thing, which is spiritual entities.
Lord of the Ree is on a roll right now. Bigfoot is on the spectrum. Is why he avoids contact with people. Yeah. I think the obvious answer should be yes, at least from a Christian perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why were angels able to essentially manifest
as humans, as all sorts of things?
Yeah, whatever. So, and then you can make the argument for fallen angels when it comes to something like Bigfoot or fairies or something like that. Yeah, I think it's perfectly possible.
Yeah, and I think to say, yeah,
this is why, but there's a common theme throughout though, right? Because they always maintain some type of semblance, right? This is why we have classifications of aliens when it comes to the tall grays or little green guys or whatever, right?
Or the Nordics.
Or the Nordics, yeah. What's Valiant Thor? So yeah, I think yes. I think yes.
So to me, I think
I don't know how we ended up
even if I were to buy that the orb thing were real, to me, angelic or demonic powers would be a better explanation than we can do that technologically. Now, I don't discount that it is possible, but I think it's a simpler explanation.
Yeah. Josh, we might have to cut this one short.
Yeah, baby's calling.
Yeah. She's
getting worms.
She's got a worm out there. Leave the worm be. He ain't hurting nobody. What is that, Josh?
We'll
I think there has to be some type of spectrum.
We'll talk
I think there has to be some type of spectrum. So Josh, we need to write this down. We need to Malaysia podcast specifically dedicated to that. I'll pull all the videos that we need, and we can go from there. Nander,
what up, buddy?
Tell Josh.
What up, Zan, man?
Tell Mr. Josh you need a haircut.
My mommy said
There's a worm.
Yeah, we're gonna go get that worm.
Say hi.
Yeah, tell everybody hey.
Xander, say hi.
Hey.
Say hi, Star. We've been invaded by foreign powers.
He's fine. He's not on screen. We almost done. Let's see.
I think with how unprofessionally we started, we can't really blame anybody.
It's been a roller coaster today. Tell everybody hey. Say hey. Okay, that's enough.
Breath.
That's enough. Go sit down, crazy. Go sit down. Yeah, go. Whew. Does he stink? He needs a bath.
His breath stinks.
Yeah, he needs a bath too. All right, Malaysian Airlines. I got to convince you on that one.
I could be I'm coming around to it.
Evolution with respect to the mechanical aspects of it.
All right.
A Time for War conspiracy episode.
Was that a dog or a cat? It's half a friggin' horse. That's what it was. Lord of the Ree. What was the last one you just said? What did you just say?
Conspiracy with Time for War. Saint Militant. He's Saint Militant on
you just mean
Twitter.
like things we got to do. Yeah.
What else?
I mean,
we need to look into.
I'm going to be the one convincing you about evolution.
Well, you're not going to convince me on evolution.
Probably not, but I'm right.
I think I can convince you on evolution, though.
I don't think so.
I think I can.
I think I can convince you on the soul thing.
I got you pretty close. I could be convinced on the soul thing.
Yeah, we got pretty close last time we talked about it.
But not from a evolution perspective.
Sure.
Yeah. So we have the. Let me find it. We have Elon Musk trying to create a legion of babies, children, because he thinks he's God. We have the White House saying that they have technology to essentially defy space and time or abolish. How'd they put it, Josh?
Oh, what did they say? They said they had technology that could bend space and time.
No, not what I was trying to do.
Or something like that.
Let's find it. Ready. Our technologies permit us to maintain Oh, manipulate time and space.
The thing, though, and this is what I was going to say earlier.
How do you interpret that?
Okay, the thing, well, I'm saying it.
Say it, Josh, say it.
That this is just an expression.
In what way would it be an expression, though?
So, like, when we talk about, like, space travel, when they talk about space travel, manipulates time and space. This is, like, I've heard scientists say this. Like, Neil deGrasse Tyson says this about, like, the Apollo ship, where because of time dilation, it's as if it's a time machine, when it's really like, it's not like we can control space and time. If you could actually manipulate space and time, it would solve all of our problems. So what like realistically, what could they mean by this?
Not that. Like if they what manipulate though? Manipulate? Like manipulate.
Okay, so what does it mean to manipulate time? To move through time?
No, we always move through time.
Okay, to speed up or slow down or reverse the flow of time.
Yes.
With that, if you could speed up to go to the future, then reverse it.
You're taking this from a relative aspect. I don't think it's a relative statement.
So what I'm asking is what can they do with this technology you think they're admitting to existing?
Donald Trump is from the future. That's what they're saying. I don't know. I mean, I don't know because it's so. I mean, you have this entire thing. Wow. Why do I keep doing that?
You know what? I might buy it because he managed to fool so many people into voting for him, when now he wants to give amnesty to all the illegals that came here during Biden's
Stephen
time.
Miller's not letting it happen. Have you seen they're changing the changing a ton of the H-1B stuff.
Yep.
And Stephen Miller for the win. Number one Jew. Let's go. I mean, they have all of these words in this thing for Endless Frontier Retreat. And then you have this really, really small segment of, but we're capable of so much more.
Our technologies permit us to manipulate time and space. In regards to
what does even this mean? They leave distance
annihilated, cause things to grow and improve productivity. These things are all qualifiers, and he finishes it with improved productivity. Like, I think he's just using big words to like they leave distance annihilated. You could say this is just like a press secretary's most bombastic way of describing a bullet train.
I was going to say a drag race.
Yeah. Or
like a drag strip? No, not like a drag show.
Okay.
Like a drag strip. Like
that's what I thought. Like, I thought drag race is what you meant at first, but then I was like, oh, do you mean drag show?
They leave distance annihilated. Like, these words don't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense, but that's because I think if he was like, we can move things fast, it just doesn't sound as good.
We can move things fast.
Yeah.
All right. What time is it? All right, we got 8 minutes. I want to knock this down real quick. This is a tweet by JD Vance. We're going to start at the bottom of this one and kind of move over. Because I'm just trying to convince Josh all the time of JD Vance. I wonder if they can't see my thing, can they? All right, so we're looking at bottom left of JD Vance. This is a quote tweet. Again, you're not even addressing the issue. Biden overwhelm the system with illegal migration is your proposed solution to give a jury trial to 20 million illegal aliens. More if you count those already here. Yeah, significantly more. Joining the Trump bandwagon means you are wow, I can't read today, man. You either need to be dumb or pretend to be dumb. JD Vance might have mortgaged his mortality and his legacy, but he is not dumb. He doesn't actually think anyone's proposing 20 million trials. Rather, he knows he has very, very dumb supporters. Okay, midwit claiming everybody's dumb. And so JD Vance responded, I hate this smug, self-assured bullshit. I know I'm right, and people must be dumb or immoral to disagree with me. It's an easy way to get through life because then you never have to think seriously about why your worldview is a justification for the mass invasion of the country my ancestors built with their bare hands. Okay, but first of all, before Josh comes at me, yes, J.D. Vance is married to an Indian. So let's get that out of the way. But the tweet itself, I think, stands. Josh, does it not?
Yeah. So,
like, are we deporting Usha? Let's go. No, I'm just kidding.
So my point about J.D. Vance has always been, if you recall, that he is controlled opposition. I
wouldn't even disagree with that, dude.
But my point being is that you can say a lot of things. What matters is what you do. And what they are not doing is deporting 20 million illegals. This appeals to people like you and me. But what is actually going to be done about it? I don't think... I think that, like, because of Trump and because of, like, the events of the past decade, the conversation has genuinely changed. The Overton window has shifted. The pendulum has swung.
Oh, dude, it's changed significantly.
It's changed significantly.
And,
but
like,
the thing is,
since October 7th, really.
Yes, but the thing is, this is what I've been saying to you since we started this podcast. The people that are in control they don't exist in a vacuum. They see the change happening also, and they will try to adapt. And this is something Nick Fuentes was talking about today when he was talking about the Dave Smith and Douglas Murray debate. He said, what was the expression he used? It was it's like a legalistic term, and it has to do with, like, not everyone's invited. It's like a exclusive party, something like that, where it's like, we're going to have this debate that everyone is talking about, but we're going to control both people. Like, the outcome is already set. They're excluding the actual people making the real side of the debate. You know what I mean? And tweets like this,
I can agree with that.
They are good. They sound good. If it were you tweeting it, if it were me tweeting it, I'd be like, hell yeah. But the problem is J.D. Vance has these very shady connections. He was an Obama acolyte in 2008.
Just say you don't like him, dude.
I don't like him, but I don't like him because I think he's a spy, because I think he's fake. I don't trust anyone who's in the Marines.
I am halfway okay with that. I think this rhetoric is pushing the conversation our way, and I'm okay with that until it's not.
No, the point is I think the conversation has already been pushed this way. He's not. This is not actually pushing it. This is not actually pushing it any further than it already is. That's what I think. People already are saying this.
On this spectrum of...
Donald Trump said things no one was saying in the mainstream at that level.
In 2016.
In 2015. Yes.
Not 2020.
No. I agree. But in 2020... J.D. Vance is not saying anything that people haven't already said.
As a sheer numbers perspective, there's nobody larger than J.D. Vance that is saying these things.
That is true. I completely agree. But I think, you know this, when presidents pick their vice presidential candidates, they try to pick someone that is a counter, like someone that will wrangle in more people that the president is not popular with. Okay, I'm really popular with all these demographics, but I fail in this demographic. I'm going to get someone that will kind of ease over that demographic. That's basically what the VP position exists for. I think. This is my theory that J.D. Vance... Traditionally. And that J.D. Vance was selected for two goals. If Trump didn't toe the line on certain things, they'd shoot him in the head and J.D. Vance would take over. That, and that J.D. Vance will actually appeal to people like us and take some of the steam, because he is mainstream, he will take steam out of the argument that our worldviews are being suppressed. Because how can someone who agrees with us, become the vice president? But how much
That's
with us does he actually
an angle.
agree?
Where'd you get that angle from?
I just thought of it.
That's
I not just thought of it, but I thought of it.
I mean, that's an angle to take. But
And
I
I don't
don't
know.
think there's any wind behind it. Because we're past that point. We're past
It is
that
a stretch. I agree. But I think there's more wind behind that argument than that he is authentically America first in the same way we are. When he was an Obama acolyte, has an Indian wife, his kids are named Vivek and whoever.
I wish his kids were older and we knew who they were married to, and we can make some more judgments. I think that goes a long way, dude. Like if they were just married.
I think his Thanksgiving photo, we talked about that. His Thanksgiving photo kind of shows where his allegiances lie.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Could it be worse? Yes. Could it be better? I don't know. I don't think it could be any better. Sadly. Could it theoretically? Yes. Practically, no.
I'm ready to call it, man. We got. I'm running out of steam.
Okay,
here.
we gotta plan. We gotta plan a little bit better, Josh.
Yeah, I know. We really need to have like a pre-show sit down and game
Well,
plan
stop
a little
working
bit
so
better.
much. How about that?
I'd
But
like
yeah,
that.
I need
believe
to
me.
do some lifting. Dude, I ain't even been in the studio this morning. But yeah, all right. So we got 3 topics. Well, 2.
The orbs, evolution, mechanical aspect of it.
Yeah,
how it mechanically cannot work. I'll have to send me whatever argument, and I'll see if I can't find anything.
Well, mine are from
on my
books
end.
from like 10 years ago. Because I
Sure.
once I learned the thing, I could just kind of, okay, here's the brick in the wall. I'll just file everything away. And then it just kind of disappears because I can't remember anything.
Well, I assume you're going to prepare.
Yeah, I'll prep.
Yeah.
You're
I'll
saying send it whatever I'm going to use. I
Yeah,
don't have
yeah, and
anything
vice
to use.
versa.
But
like I don't really like, to me, like
we're gonna have
the
a
thing
debate.
about
Let's do a debate.
debates.
I'll have to sit over here though.
The thing about debates though is it's like you can easily win by just tricking the other side. I feel like a debate should be more legalistic, where all the evidence is presented beforehand and both sides evaluate it individually.
Yeah, but that's not fun.
But I mean, it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Honest.
Yeah, but it's not fun. All right, we knocked down a lot today. Space is gay, but maybe real. Dinosaurs definitely aren't.
Space is real, but it's gay. Dinosaurs are fake, but they're not gay. Evolution is possibly fake and definitely gay. That's what we came to the conclusion of.
Oh boy, it was kind of all over the place today. I mean, we had a common theme, space, time travel. Let's go, and making babies. Elon Musk, because he thinks he's God.
The Uberman.
You know who? Elon, one more thing before we go.
All right.
You watch Marvel movies?
Yeah.
You've seen?
I've seen most of them. I think.
Have you seen the second Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Elon thinks he's ego, dude. Elon thinks he's ego.
He's trying to create the second Celestial or whatever.
He's over here repopulating planets.
He's seeding his spawn on all the planets he could possibly find.
That's exactly what he's doing, dude. How many babies
That's
can I
funny.
pump out? Maybe I'll get one that can compete.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's doing. Oh boy.
That's funny.
Welcome to the Republican Party and the New Right. We will catch you tomorrow, maybe, if not Friday.